Welcome back to the College Quarterdeck. Today we're going to show you how to do an oil change on a 4 horsepower Yamaha. We're going to break it down for you, make it really easy. We're going to go step by step, and by the end of this video you'll be able to do it all on your own. So first things first, you're going to want to make sure you have all the tools you need to do this. You don't want to start a project and then leave it half-baked because you realize you didn't have the right tools. It's a bigger socket. So let's go over what you're gonna need. First things first, you're gonna wanna have some gloves. That way you can protect your hands from the oil. You're gonna wanna look either on your owner's manual or in your outboard, and it'll tell you what type of oil you want. So for this outboard, it says you want 10W30. We're gonna need 0.5 liters of oil. So you need some sort of way to measure it out. You're also gonna want a funnel. You're also going to want a ratchet extension, and a 12mm socket. We also here have a wrench, and this is to actually provide better leverage to turning the screwdriver when we do the lower end. But we'll get to that towards the end of the video, and you'll see that. You're gonna also want lower end oil. In this case, we'll be using Yamalube gear case lube. Just to make this a cleaner process is you're going to want oil absorbent pad. And the last but not least, you're also going to want to have some gaskets for the screws for the lower end. And that basically covers everything you'll need for this video. Now that we've laid out what we're gonna need, we're gonna start by putting the oil absorbent pad down just to catch any oil, just in case we spill. Next thing you're going to want to do is to take off the cowling. There's gonna be 2 clips. Little disclaimer beforehand. In this video, where I'm actually gonna take off this cowling piece right here, you don't have to. The oil drain is actually easily accessible, but I'm planning on doing it just so you can kind of see a little better, hopefully. I think you'll be able to see it either way, but anyways, I'm gonna take this off because we have to take it off to do some other maintenance as well. So now that we have our cowlings removed, let me just turn the outboard so you can see better. Your oil screw is actually right here. It's kind of tucked away. I don't know if you can see that. There you go. Can you see it better? So it's right here, and that's what we're gonna use the number 12 socket for. So let me go grab it. Okay. I just like to take the ratchet out of the equation once it breaks free. There we go. Perfect. So what you're going to do is you're just going to drain that. Once it's done draining, then we'll put the screw back in and refill it with oil. As you can see, it's really just a slow drip now. We're gonna put the screw back and then we'll start filling the oil. Okay, and then we just want to make sure it's snug. The last thing we want to do is strip the oil screw. So you just want to make sure it's tight. Obviously not too loose, because then it could leak or it could come undone because the outboard shakes a lot right when it's running. But at the same time, you don't want to over tighten it. So you just have to find that nice balance. Probably wouldn't be watching this video if you didn't know that. So the next step is we are going to put our oil in. You're probably wondering, well, how much do I need? That is going to be specified right here on the outboard. We're going to get our measuring cup and we're going to get our engine oil. On this outboard, it says 0.5 liters. Measure out 0.5 liters. Also, you want to measure out your oil on a flat surface. I don't know why I was measuring it in the air, I guess to try to show you, but I'm going to properly measure it now. There's too much. Next, you're going to want your funnel. You want to take a look. So we're just going to put the funnel in there, and then we're just going to pour our oil into the funnel, which goes into the outboard. Okay, perfect. So normally you'd want to check the level on the dipstick. There's markings, at least for this. By the way, this is a 1999. This is a 1999 4-stroke 4 horsepower Yamaha. Your Yamaha that you're working on you should find somewhere similar, the drain plug and everything. There is a little dipstick here on the oil cap, which I kind of said earlier. Normally we would check and measure it, but you'd want to run the outboard a little bit. That way the oil gets pushed through the outboard, and then you'd want to let it rest a little bit to let it set before measuring it. Can't really measure it right now. We have to do some other maintenance on the outboard. That concludes the first part on changing the oil for the upper part of the outboard. Now we're going to get down to the lower. here we have our lower end of our outboard. You're gonna see there's actually a wash screw here. We're not gonna worry about that. We want the 2 oil screws. So there's an oil screw here and an oil screw here. So what we're gonna do is we're going to drain the oil and then we're gonna fill it from the bottom up to the top, which I'll explain while we're filling it, why we do it that way. And that'll basically sum up the rest of this video. So let's get into it. First things first, I'm going to get that screwdriver and the wrench. We're not gonna go to this oil screw, we're gonna go to this oil screw. And there's a reason why. We're gonna go here. This is kind of a tough angle with the way this outboard's mounted. Hopefully break the tension. I'll see it wasn't on that tight. Okay, and then we'll do the upper one. Oh, see, they're not on that tight this time. This one's gonna be a lot easier. We start with the bottom one first. Because you open the top, the air is able to flow in, and then it breaks the seal, and thus more oil will start to flow out through the bottom. While that's draining, what we're gonna do right now is we're gonna replace the gaskets on these. Let's come over to the table. We have our gaskets here. You just want to replace these every time because I actually just came across an outboard the other day that it had 2 gaskets on because someone didn't replace the original OEM part, and one of the gaskets were just like crushed, and like that's why it wasn't sealing, and so there was water in the lower end because people weren't replacing these properly. So it's important that you just take these off every time because that's what they're replaceable. Oh, see, like this one, just twist it. Comes right off. Put this on. Boom, there you go. We have put the new gaskets onto our screws. These are the old ones. We're going to take our oil and we're going to get started filling. So back to the floor. You're also, by the way, going to want to have your screws easily available or readily available because this is going to all happen kind of fast. In a perfect world, this would screw in a little bit. It doesn't, so I'm just gonna have to hold it here by hand. And so why we're filling from the bottom is because if we fill from the top and it goes down, sometimes air bubbles can be left, or it takes a while for those to rise. So you might think it's full, but it might not be. By removing both screws and by filling by the lower end, filling up, we know we definitely don't have any air in between this section because it pushes it all out. And that's why we fill from the bottom. Oh. Okay, well, it's definitely filled. So we're gonna kind of do the reverse of how we started. We're gonna take this screw and we are going to kind of get started. Get my screwdriver, putting the top screw back in. Top screw is in. Now, this is where you have to be kind of fast. I'm gonna have to get the bottom screw in, and I have a really bad angle here, so give me 1 sec. Okay. I'm just finished tightening this. Once again, we want to tighten it, but not over tighten it. What you're going to want to do from here is you're actually going to want to get a little bit of soap, a little bit of water. You're just going to clean off the oil. That way, when you put the outboard in the water, you're going to clean it off, one, because it's good for the environment, but even if you don't care about the environment. And the second part is that if you get this all cleaned off and then you come back to it, say in a day, and just look at it and you notice there's oil dripping down, you'll be like, there's probably a leak. So that way, if you clean this all up, you'll know if you're having a leak or you're not having a sealing issue. So, sounds good. Perfect. Clip 1, clip 2, and we're done. So, that basically sums up how to do an oil change for your Yamaha outboard. Remember, we went over what we're gonna need. We went over the upper oil and the lower end. So, if you have any questions, rewatch the video just to make sure it wasn't already covered. If not, don't forget to leave any questions in the comment section down below. Let us know if you liked the video, if you'd like to see more videos like this, and we'll plan to see you in the next one. Check this oil from the Suzuki air change. Check that out. Ooh, delicious.
Hey, okay, stop, please. Don't make that noise.
Oh, there's still a filter in there, look. You can see the filter.
Oh, is that what that was?
There's like a filter like